Payday 3 was set to be a golden game that would launch this year that would live up to its predecessor and redeem Overkill and Starbreeze for Raid World War II and Overkill's The Walking Dead. But unfortunately, this golden game with the live-action trailers that we love and positive feedback from beta testing and events would overlook one crucial detail that would make Payday 3 a casualty of modern gaming. Hold on, we have to wait for the rest of this video to load in.
2 hours later.
As you can tell, Payday 3 has a massive issue with servers. I've seen on Twitter how it's had to take people up to 4 hours to load into a heist. And personally, my friends and I had to wait up to an hour to load into the standard bank heist, and at that point we just gave up and played another game. The reason I originally delayed this video was to experiment with new editing techniques, but now I would have had to delay it anyways because I haven't been able to play all 8 of the heists, and it's been about 6 or 7 days now. Now, Payday 3 is a fun and chaotic experience that simplifies and complicates many aspects of Payday 2, and removes almost all the heavy weapons. But all of that doesn't mean anything if you can't load into the game itself. There are 2 loading screens that many players are stuck on. The first loading screen is just the loading screen to get into the main menu of the game, with the error of failing to connect. I've encountered this loading screen several times, and it didn't matter if I restarted the game, restarted the console, or completely uninstalled the game and retried it again. At least that error dared to tell me that it failed and I needed to try again. The second loading screen you got stuck on was the screen to just get into any of the heists. This screen, whereas previously said, will just be put on a continuous loop until you give up. This is not a lesser issue that you should overlook, especially at a game's launch when it leaves a lasting impression on players and viewers. There could be many reasons for why this is. It may have been an issue similar to Cyberpunk where upper management forced impossible deadlines to meet. It could be like Skull and Bones where there seems like there's no real direction. It could have been like Fallout 76. Where it's Fallout 76. As always, it's somewhere in the middle with variables that we are not aware of. Moving on from the game-breaking issue that's causing many players to not be able to play the game, how's Payday 3? It's a moderately enjoyable experience. Each heist in that game is arguably more replayable than 2/3 of Payday 2's heists. My favorite heist is most likely the nightclub equivalent heist because of its compelling atmosphere and it brings our favorite contractor back into the fold.
I said you fuckers would do this shit one day!
I was a console Payday 2 player, so bear with me for a moment. The ability to finally customize our characters' suits and gloves is a great addition to the masks that our heisters wear. I'm very skeptical about the C-Stack Continental Coin cryptocurrency that you can use to buy gloves. At the moment, you can only buy it with cash, but let's just hope that it stays that way for the future. The mask and weapon selection in the game are underwhelming. I get that there's a transition to a brand new game engine, and experimentation is always present, but the weapons and masks in Payday 2 are one of the big staples that made Payday 2 stand out. If you wanted to be a president or a knight with a missile launcher or a minigun, go for it. Payday 3 decided to just not do that. Their weapon standpoint is bland. No missile launcher, no minigun, no light machine gun, no akimbo weapons, no bows, and no flamethrowers. The masks are also not much to mention and didn't really stand out like the masks in Payday 2. One of the main counters to the lack of content and lack of variety in content is that Payday 3 just came out, and Payday 2 heavily operated on DLCs that launched with weapons, masks, characters, and heists that expanded the game. Console player again, so I started with the Crime Wave edition, but the fact that even with the DLC, Payday 2 had over 100 weapons. As the next installment in the franchise, Payday 3 could only muster up a staggering 19 weapons across primary, secondary, and overkill weapons. Overkill weapons are the more wacky weapons that you were able to use as your primary in Payday 2, and that you have to play out throughout the heist and then get airdropped in. They're a little bit useless, either due to the lack of ammo or the functionality for sustained waves. One thing that I genuinely like about Payday 3 is how they structured the waves, and how if you lollygag for too long, the cops will just keep coming, and that helps to add a greater sense of urgency to your heists. Snipers are just as annoying and cloakers are just as terrifying. There are an unlimited amount of zip ties for hostages, and you can delay the beginning waves by trading a hostage, and throughout the heist there will be moments to trade hostages for health, armor, or ammo. Getting back into the game is a lot quicker as long as you don't kill all of your hostages. I need to experiment a little bit more with this concept, but I'm leaning more towards Payday 2's health and armor system, with how your armor fully regenerated, but your health could only regenerate with a med kit or a medic bag. In Payday 3, health and armor both require their respective kits that you have to drop, and armor only regenerates a tad bit more depending on how much damage you've taken. But armor is worth more now, and there isn't as much of a cost for your speed if you equip heavier sets. Stealth in Payday 3 is better and worse for different reasons. So far, I've partially stealthed 3 of the heists and fully stealthed 2 of the heists out of the 8 in the game. It feels just as satisfying to complete a heist stealthily, and it doesn't feel as bad if you and your mates decide to say, fuck it, we'll do it loud. Body bags have been removed, and you can now pick up pagers before, during, or after you've picked up a body. Side note, the pager answers are just as good, if not better, in Payday 3.
Everything all right over there?
Hello? Yeah, oh, fuck. Oh, just managed to pour coffee all over the radio. I'm alright though.
Yeah, sounds good.
One of the stealth gadgets that I actually used was the spy cameras that you were able to place down. I was stealthing the art gallery, and then I opened a door. I knew there was a rotating security camera behind it, so I quickly opened the door, placed the camera, and shut the door again, checking to make sure the camera wasn't facing my direction. And I was able to sneak by it and get past no problem. The thing that I missed the most in terms of stealth from Payday 2 was the pre-planning. You could pre-plan loud, and it did heavily help, but I remember how fun it was to load into a stealth heist like Shadow Raid or the standard bake heist on Payday 2. You were able to place cameras that would automatically outline guards for you and other miscellaneous items such as placement for equipment or cue cards to quickly advance through portions of the heist. You basically go in blind for Payday 3, and I'm alright with that, but it's just one of those small things that suck if you care about planning each little detail of a heist. One more thing, the story that Payday 3 lined up was actually interesting to see, and I did enjoy it. The one thing that I'm skeptical with in the story is that Shade seems like an interesting character, but I believe we'll need to see a lot more development from her if I'm going to accept her as a suitable replacement for Bane. I'm sorry, I'm Vlad-pilled. What are some things that I'd like to see from Payday 3 going forward? I won't talk about new heisters, weapons, and heists, because I know that Overkill will deliver on that in due time. And besides talking about that, offline servers would be awesome. I know this sounds weird, but having the game put on pause when you pause is actually pretty nice. We've also all dealt with issues when our networks just collapse and our pings go all over the place. For me personally, when network issues occur, one of the main games I go to play offline while things cool down was Payday 2, and I would love for that to be the case with the game's sequel. And it's awesome when you can't load into an invite-only game when it's just yourself. Next, some type of pre-planning system besides the 1 asset per player per heist. Whether that's starting with the bank of 4 assets per heist and giving any extra to the host, or have some favors that are a different approach to break into a vault or to escape, like it was with pre-planning in Payday 2. One thing that I also didn't mention that's just kind of a smaller thing is that the favors are at the very bottom of the weapons dealer. And I didn't find this out because I wasn't interested in a bunch of weapon paints and chimes. And with this offline mode, I hope that there will be a similar option to customize the AI that you bring with you. It wouldn't even bother me if they didn't have perks and traits that they brought into the heist with them. But if we could just change their weaponry and appearance to make it suit our playstyle, that would be awesome. Dodge is kind of gone, and as a dodge main in Payday 2, I'm actually okay with that. But I believe that this could be a good reason to bring back a feature that wasn't used so much in Payday 2, which was the armor bags. Armor bags in Payday 2, for those of you who do not know, were a gadget, and when you had them equipped and loaded into the heist, you would start with the quickest and most nimble armor set, which was the 2-piece suit. Then you could place down the armor set, and it would equip whatever armor you had in your loadout. The only times I rarely used it in Payday 2 were when I was new and playing on lower difficulty heists going stealth with my friends. It was kind of a backup when shit hit the fan. I think that it could be a lot more useful now in Payday 3, because there are some definite advantages of stealthing the beginning portions of certain heists. It would be a more serious choice if you could make life smoother for yourself during the stealth section, but then lose out on one of the aid kits to heal or resupply when things do go loud. I really hope more new games start to do this for console, and I hope Payday 3 adds this in as well. But a controller binding option would be a great improvement to the game. There were a few times I accidentally tossed a grenade when I meant to drop a bag. It's a smaller issue, but it'd be easier to just adjust the controls because Payday 3's legacy option isn't accurate either. Also, more Vlad. I don't care how, just bring back more Vlad whenever you can.
You guys no fun, fuck you.
Payday 3 is a good game. However, I believe that the server issues will not help the game's reputation anytime in the near future. I believe that since Payday 3 is on Xbox Game Pass, and at least there is an attempt to fix things up, unlike Payday 2's console edition, I believe Payday 3 can come back from this with time. I know Payday 3's future will probably be like Payday 2's with DLC packs that include weapons, heists, and new characters to play as, but I really think the safest option Starbreeze can do is release a good portion of these first few DLCs for free. It genuinely disappoints me because I can see that there was some actual talent that was put into this. But with most modern games that release, that talent will be forgotten, as Payday 3 will always face that uphill battle of being remembered by the average gamer as that game you can't play. And I'm not saying not to do that if you believe so. Starbreeze and Deep Silver did greenlight the release date, and they deserve any criticism for it. It just kinda sucks that this has become the average state for modern games.